Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's 445 group um, early recovery. My name is Britton Fazio. I'll be your counselor for this session. Thanks for all coming. My first thing I want to say is that group is intended to be safe. We all come from different places. We all have different feelings and emotions, and honestly, we're all at different stages of our recovery. Therefore, we need to be safe. Know that we all can say what we want to say. What we say stays in this room. We will not judge each other. We will be here to help each other, give each other our different insights. Okay? What we're going to do to start out is our introductions. So if we can start with you, ma'am. I just would like you to tell me what your name is, your drug of choice, how many days you've been clean, and just give me one word of how you're feeling.
My name is Susan. My drug of choice is heroin. I've only been clean for 17 days. And I'll be real with you, I feel hopeless today.
Okay, Susan, thank you. Next, my name's Ben. I'm an alcoholic. I've been clean for, oh man, like 132 days, and I feel awesome today. Great, thank you, Ben. Welcome. I'm Mike. Drug choice is meth. I'll be honest with the group. This is only my second day clean. I can't get this. Uh, I'm having a hard time. I feel angry. I'm angry at everything. I'm angry at myself. I can't get this. I'm angry at the courts. I'm just angry at everybody. Mike, that's okay. Angry is a healthy emotion. I'm going to teach you how to deal with that emotion. Last,
Hi, I'm Betty. My drug of choice is weed or pot. I just like to get high. I've been clean 54 days. And I feel content, I guess.
okay, great. Well, thank you. As I said before, I'm Britton, and look forward to spending the next couple months with you guys in group. What we're going to talk about tonight is recipe for recovery. We've all liked food. I like to think my recovery kind of as ingredients. There are certain things that I must do in life to follow directions in order for my recovery. Just like with a recipe, if I don't add enough or I add too much or I leave something out, my cake or my food that I'm making is not going to come out right. Our recovery is the same thing. We have certain things in recovery that we must do. Just going to self help meetings and not using our drug of choice is not going to get us a full recovery. It might keep us dry, but it's not going to truly help us learn how to live a happy life. And that's what I think we all want. If we didn't, if we wanted a miserable life, we'd continue to use. Let's face it. So we need to do certain things in life, and we need to do them in the correct amount. We can't do one to access and the other just here and there. Life is throws us things, and we need to truly focus on what we have here. And feel free to ask any questions during while we read these off, and then we'll talk about them each one. So the first one, priority. Make your recovery your priority. The single most important thing in your life has to be your recovery. It can't be your family, can't be your dog, can't be your friends. The best way I like to look at this is when I was on airplanes growing up, they used to talk about, if the oxygen masks come down, you need to put your oxygen mask on first and then help others. And I used to think that's crazy. if I have my two kids next to me, I'm putting their oxygen masks on first. Anybody here have kids? Oh, Susan, you have one? Okay, all right. So you know what I'm talking about. You know, I was like, well, no, I have to put my oxygen mask on my kids first, and then I'll get mine on. So I'm helping them. Well, if I don't put my oxygen mask on first and take care of me first, I'm not going to be there to help my kids. That's just like your recovery. If you don't make your recovery your most important thing in this world, the rest of it's not going to matter. Um, the rest of it, you're going to end up not having. If my recovery is number 2 or 7 on my list, something's more important, and eventually we're going to end up stumbling with, our addiction. Our wives and husbands might not understand why you have to go to a meeting every night or why you have to meet with your sponsor on Sunday. But if you put your sobriety first and you continue to work diligently on it, and follow what the program gives you, your loved ones, husband, wives will eventually learn to see that they are that sobriety does come first, and they'll understand why. Number 2, one day at a time. Sounds cliche. I know it does. I used to hear it. It used to bother me. Oh, one day at a time. In sobriety, we need to focus on today, not what we did in the past, not what we're going to try to do in the future. This has been very hard for most people to do, probably one of the harder things to do in recovery. We always, as addicts, let's be honest, we used to escape the day. We didn't want to stay in today. What we wanted to do was to escape reality. So what we do, we drink or use drugs, get away from it. Now in recovery, they're asking us to do the complete opposite. They're asking us to stay in the day, not focus on yesterday or tomorrow. If we get caught up thinking about in the past, man, I was a bad husband. Mike, I was just not a good son. Betty, I treated my sisters poorly. That's just going to continue to make us feel worse about ourselves and reach out to the drugs or the alcohol to take that pain away. If we focus on the future, Susan, I just can't wait until, my daughter graduates high school, or how am I going to pay for my daughter's college graduation? Well, that's a good thing to think about, but if you put too much thought into that, you're going to start tripping yourself up, and eventually you're not going to focus on what you're doing here and today. We need to stay in the day. It's one of the hardest things to do. It goes against everything that we've been taught. I have a friend of mine taught me that I used to like to get outside, in the future or in the past. And what I truly did was I'd go in the future so far and I'd say negative things are going to happen. That what I did was I brought that in today and said, I'm a bad person now. The future there's no telling what the future is. We can't control the past. If I pull all those negative things in today and tell myself I'm a failure today, I'm going to use. My friend also told me that I might have to breathe deep breaths, look down at my feet until I realize where I'm at. And I might have to do that 50 times a day. If I'm lucky, next year, I only have to do it 49 times a day, and so on. So, number 2, one day at a time. Next comes communicate. Guys, Mike, Ben, we probably don't like doing this a lot. Susan, Betty, I bet you two like doing this. My wonderful wife at home loves communicating. And me, I'm not a big communicator. And that can cause problems at times. But for us addicts, let's be honest, when we were in our addiction, usually we either ran off everybody in our lives. We isolated in our apartments by ourselves. We didn't want to talk about how we were feeling. We taught ourselves to not communicate. We taught ourselves to isolate. And communication is a big thing. We can't do this alone. We can't isolate ourselves. They talk about a higher power in the 12-step meetings, and higher power people can say can be anything. I've heard a really good example of a higher power being your cell phone. We're lucky to have cell phones nowadays. At 2 o'clock in the morning, if I want to have a drink and I have nobody there with me, I have the luxury of having a cell phone. It weighs a lot. Pick it up, call somebody. They pass around at these support groups cards with names and numbers on it. They give you that for a reason because they know how it feels. They know how it feels at that moment when you want to drink or use your drug to just feel defeated. And I promise you that if you just pick that phone up and you continue to call somebody until you reach someone, that can help you get through a craving. So we got to learn how to communicate, okay? 4, change your environment. Again, sounds cliche. I'm not going to tell you that if you live in New York and you want to get sober and you fly to Florida, that automatically you're going to be sober. That's not how it works. They tell us to change people, places, and things. Changing your environment can be, I can be from Ithaca and want to get sober. But if I hang around my buddies that are still going out to the bars or down to the drug neighborhoods, eventually I'm going to fall into that. They say if you don't want to get stung, stay away from bees. Changing your environment is a big thing. You just got to truly know that yes, they can still be people that are in your lives. It's hard because a lot of us grew up with these people. We started using with them when we were teenagers. Now what do? Those are our best friends. Well, guess what? What's more important, your sobriety or hanging out with your friends? I'm going to tell you, if you hang out with your friends, you're going to play with fire because eventually you're just going to fall into the old habits. So, you got to change your environment. That's why I preach going to 12-step meetings. Go to them, meet people. There are people in this community that have fun that are sober. We just have to reach out and find those people, okay? Number 5, change for your friends. Again, it's hard to do, and it's a little uncomfortable to do. It would be nice to be able to go out with your buddies that are still drinking, but guess what? They can drink. They, don't go home and fight with their spouses. They don't get DWIs. They don't end up in a jail cell like we do. They can handle having 2 beers and going home. We can't. Therefore, we need to surround ourselves with people that are in our shoes, that don't drink, that want to stay abstinent from it. I've heard of the law of attraction, and what that is that you surround yourself with positive things, you surround yourself with positive people, you're going to start having some positive things happen in your life. Now, it works on the negative side too. You hang around with the drug dealers, you hang around with alcoholics, you're going to start seeing yourself have some negative consequences in your life. And so the law of attraction, if you want good, follow good, hang around good. If you want bad, you're going to hang around the negative situations and you're going to end up attracting that negativity. Just like my father used to tell me, hang out with the winners, stay with the winners. Okay? So that's change friends. Next is exercise. Let's be honest, in addiction, none of us exercise probably. The most exercise you got was walking across town at the middle of the night to go find your drug of choice. And that was probably about it. But, exercising does 2 things for you. It can get your body physically fit again, and what it does is it also kicks out those dopamines that give you that high, the same kind of thing that the drug does. But this is a natural high. I can tell you that, when I work out afterwards, I feel great. I have a feeling of myself, of euphoria that, when I first started drinking, it kind of gave me the same thing. So, really, think about exercising. You don't have to go run a Boston Marathon mile. Get your heart rate up. Take a little walk with your dog. Walk with your kid, Susan. Mike, you being angry. You know what? Working out, exercise is